are you?
How you doing? Good.
There we go. We want folks to hear us.
Okay.
Keith, you have been in the community with Flyright Productions for years, for decades. I want to go to the beginning when you first know that, like, look, I need to keep my camera with me. I'm going to start taking photos of everything and everybody. Tell us about the beginning of Flyright Productions.
Well, it actually started when I was like 10 years old. I hustled newspapers and sold enough newspapers to win a prize. And the prizes ranged from little keychains to a little brownie camera. So I had my eye on the camera for some reason. But anyway, I won this little camera, and I started taking that camera to school and taking pictures of my classmates. And we'd go on field trips, and I would have my little brownie camera and take pictures on the field trip. And at the time, you had to send the film. It was all black and white. You had to send the film to Rexall Drugs and wait about a week and a half or so to get the pictures back. But I was always excited about getting the pictures back and seeing, the images. So that was kind of where I started. And from there, it just evolved to working for a local newspaper. I got a job working while I was in high school for a weekly newspaper in the little town that I grew up in. And I always had my eye on the camera for some reason. That was always something in me that just said, oh, I'm excited about taking some pictures. So, but anyway, from there I transcended to this area in about 1969. I came to Seattle and started in Tacoma at Tacoma Community College. Got a job working in the Ethnic Studies lab, and for some reason there was a camera there, and I started taking pictures with the lab, and media has always been been in my blood, I guess. And so anyway, from that point, I got a job. My first paid job doing photography was 1971 with Tacoma, city of Tacoma. And again, they asked me, what did I need? And I said, I need a camera. So they requisitioned a camera for me, and I started taking photographs in the city of Tacoma, pictures of houses and other developments there. So anyway, 1971 was probably where I really started just getting paid, really.
Wow. And so from there, clearly you had, developed your eye, right? I mean, you're talking about from 10 years old. That's some serious history, Keith, right? Like, I love that story because you knew early on, like, hey, I'm going to go for that camera. And it's like you never put the camera down since then.
Yeah.
But then you make, obviously, this transition from, these kind of paying, jobs to you saying, you know what, I can do this as a business. Tell us about that part of your story.
Well, as a business, people told me there was all the naysayers that said, oh, you'll never make a living in Seattle taking pictures. And then, there wasn't a lot of examples that I had to follow, There was nobody in the neighborhood that was taking photographs and making a living. So I'm like, where do I start? How do I make a living? So I started doing Polaroids in the nightclubs, and every weekend I would be in the nightclub snapping pictures and made enough money in the nightclubs to pay my rent, to invest in, the kind of equipment that I needed to further my career. So that's where it all started, in the nightclubs, and people would people would say, one day you're going to be famous. I'm like, yeah, right. Just give me $5. That's, so anyway, that's kind of where it evolved from. And then in 1994, I was working as a counselor, working with juveniles, and got laid off my job. And at that point, I said, okay, I'm still a young man. Either I'm going to make a run for it at this age, or I'm going to wait till I'm an old man and can't, get around, and then I'm going to start a business. I said, no. And I prayed about it and asked the Lord to show me the way. And, it was kind of a spiritual thing, too, at that point. I was like, Lord, if this is what you will for my life, then show me the way, provide for me. And at the time, I was working, I was a single parent. I had a 10-year-old daughter, and I'm trying to raise her, make the bills. And my last unemployment check, I said, this is it. I'm going for broke. So I started my business, set up a studio on Madison, and the first month I couldn't even pay the rent. But the guy said, hey, the owner of the building said, when you get the money, just pay me. I said, okay, cool. So it wasn't probably 2 weeks before some young rap artists came to me and said, hey, we want to do an album cover. Can you help us? I said, yeah. So they gave me enough money to pay my rent that month. And from that point on, I was rolling. I said, this must be, this is a sign that I'm meant to do what I'm doing. So, and a lot of the jobs that I did, basically in the community, it was like nobody else is here to document our history. So I took that upon myself as an assignment to document our history and to just to be there, because the press, the Seattle Times, the PI, none of those newspapers would show up for a lot of our events. So I would take it upon myself to be there and take the photographs and put them in the Medium or the Fax newspaper, or just to document it, period. Mm-hmm. So D. Charlene used to say, this is our black historian. She used to always tag me with that name, and I'd say, okay, I'm the historian. But anyway, it kind of stuck.
Well, it's true. I mean, every day I get to be in the greatness of Al Smith's collection here, beautiful. Right? And so when we got this wall done, I immediately thought of you. This is when we first got in this building, because I said, Keith has a collection that is this of another era, right? It's a whole nother generation that you have. Even those photos of folks at the club showcase the evolution of fashion, our culture, right? Like, there's so much in that, because I promise you, you have taken many of photos of my mama, and I done seen, the asymmetric hairstyles, baby, from the 90s. Like, all of that was just a part of, so Miss D. Charlene, God rest her soul, she was right to say that you are a historian. It's just like what Al Smith was doing, right? And just being there in the presence of our culture and our events, different groups throughout the community that come together. You have really been there on the scene. When you look back at all that you've been able to capture, I would love for you to have your own, exhibit at Mohai. They need to do what they did for Al Smith. They need to do that for you, because you really indicate through your work a whole other era. When you look back at all that you've done, just what are some of the things that are standouts for you?
Well, to me, the big standout is the Black community festivals, where people used to come from all over the state, and even from Oregon. Black folks used to show up, and I mean, in all their beautiful colors and all their just, the style and the camaraderie, and it was just beautiful to be a part of all of that. And that's something that I think we really miss in the city now, is the Black Community Festival. That used to be the highlight after Seafair Parade and all that. The Black Community Festival Parade, and then the festival that weekend was the highlight of the summer. Everybody looked forward to that, and it was just beautiful, and to be a part of that. And some of my images that I brought along today, I think, might show a little bit of that. But anyway, that was probably the greatest thing that I felt was in my career.
Well, it's beautiful because that legacy has been carried forward with Emoja Fest. And I was on that stage 1989 dancing with my cousins. You know what I'm saying? We did the Janet Jackson moves. I'll never forget, because we had to do many rehearsals. Let's actually go back through some of your work right here with this segment that you shared with us. my goodness, Keith. Oh, we're just sitting here in awe of your work and your contribution. I just want to publicly thank you so much for being on the scene, for capturing the positivity of it. That was like my childhood and so much more. I'm so grateful to you, and I look forward to your exhibition. Like your work is telling of a time, just as Al Smith's was, and again, it's showcasing that Black excellence in our community. If folks are out there and they're like, I need to connect with Keith, I need to hire Keith, let them know right now. Look right in that camera. Let them know how they find you, Keith.
Flyright Productions.net, or you can reach me at 7100 Fort Dent Way, Tukwila, Washington, Suite 100. That's where I'm currently located. Phone number 206-860-9813. Give me a call. If you want it done right, call Flyright.
There it is. If you want it done right, call Flyright. Keith, thank you so much for being here and giving me some of your time today. Blessings to you. I look forward to continued connection.
Thank you, Trae.
Absolutely.
God bless you.
Oh, my goodness.